Okay, well then we're going to go ahead and start. If people come in, that's okay. We'll find them a spot. But thank you all for coming. I'm Megan.
And I'm Leah, and welcome to our viewers on Facebook and Instagram Live, as well as our live audience. Thanks so much for joining us today.
So, like I mentioned, we're going to make mini lemon meringues, and they look like this. Has anyone had lemon meringue pie before? Yeah?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes.
Not sure?
Maybe.
That's okay. Well, they taste a lot like that. It's just a small version, and it's almost like a cookie, and they're really yummy. We did try before, so
Yes.
I'm excited for you all to try them. But the first thing we're going to do is work on our meringue, and that is going to be kind of the base part of the cookie. So what you do is you bake these in the oven, but since we don't have an oven, we're showing you all the steps, and then we're going to show you the finished product. So you would preheat your oven and line your baking sheet with parchment paper because they do kind of stick. And then we start working on the batter.
So the first thing we're going to do in an electric mixer, this is my version, so it's just a bowl and it just mixes it kind of similar to a KitchenAid. But you can also use a hand mixer or anything like that. This does make it go a little bit faster, but this is what we're going to use today. So we'll take 2 egg whites, and so what we're going to do is we're going to crack our eggs here. Thank you.
And separating the egg white from the yolk is a little complicated, but Leah's very good at it, so she's going to show you.
There's many ways you can do it, but the easiest way is to just use the eggshell itself. So what we'll do is we'll just crack it on there, and then we'll separate it, and just let the egg whites drop in, and then we'll kind of just exchange it like that, and let all the egg whites go in, and just do that a couple times, so you get only the yolk left in here.
And we're actually going to use the yolk later for our lemon curd, so we're going to save one of them.
Just one. So I'm going to put that in the bowl, and then we'll just set that one aside, and we will do our second egg yolk.
And the other one we'll just throw away because we're not going to use it. But you could always use it if you wanted to make make something with it. You could always save it for just a short time.
Okay, and then this one, since we don't need it, we'll just throw that one away.
Okay.
Let me change my gloves because I got nasty egg yolk on them.
And then to that, I guess the only thing we're going to do is just beat that and let it get kind of whipped, and then we're going to start adding sugar and our other ingredients to it. So it might be a little loud for a second, but not too much.
So just the egg whites first, right?
Yeah, so just the egg whites, and you're just going to beat it until it's fully combined, and it says just about 1 minute.
Okay,
So
we'll just
not
turn
too
that on, and it'll start whipping it pretty good. Is it loud?
And it says in the cookbook that you can whisk it by hand, but it'll take a really long time. So
Very long, yes. So this is just a way to quicken the process, so it's a lot faster. So we're just going to do this for a little bit, and then we'll show you what it looks like now after we're done with that.
And I'll start getting our ingredients ready. So the next thing we're going to add is salt. Does it seem weird that we add salt to a dessert? Yeah?
Yeah, a little bit.
But we're just adding a little dash of salt, so it's not too much.
Just enough to give it some flavors. All right, let's check this and see what it looks like.
We don't want to yell at you, so.
So if you guys can see it, this is just going to be, it changed color a little bit, so it's not super clear anymore. It's just really bubbly. And so now that we've gotten it started, we'll go ahead and add our salts. And it just says a pinch of salt, so I'm just going to give it a little shake in here. Get just enough in there.
And then we increase the speed to medium-high, and we're going to add the sugar and cloves as we mix it. So we'll get that ready. Sugar, and we are adding cloves, and that's kind of a fun, unique thing. We only use 1/4 teaspoon, so it does say in the cookbook that if you have cinnamon or allspice, that you can use that instead, but that they tested it, and clove was everyone's favorite. So we really liked it. So.
And we thought it was very, very tasty. It had a lot of really good flavor to the meringue, which is kind of a different ingredient for something like this. It's not a normal thing that you might use. So.
Okay.
Does it say to wait till it's stiff? Or?
No, it said that you do it well. Increase the speed to medium-high, add sugar and cloves slowly.
Okay. So you want to measure that clove? So we're just going to put this in while it's stirring, and we're just going to do it a little bit at a time, just to try and start getting it in there. And we'll let it mix a little bit in between.
And it is 2, just so you know.
And then as we're mixing it, this is getting really white and fluffy. So I'll show you guys in a minute what it looks like. You gonna put it in here?
What?
Just put it in there? Oh.
I don't know what you were
I meant in
saying.
the cup, but that's fine. That works.
Okay.
Alright. So you add it really slow like that, and what happens is it allows the sugar to get mixed in really well. Because if you just add it all really fast, it doesn't mix into the egg.
And we're just mixing it until it becomes thick and kind of shiny, and they're holding stiff peaks. So it takes a little bit of time.
Alright, and the second one, right? Okay. So we'll do one more, because we're going to do 2/3 of sugar into the egg yolk.
We want it to be really sweet, right?
You like
Yeah.
sugar? I
Okay,
like
good,
sugar
good.
too.
I think it's okay.
All right, I'm gonna pause for a second so you guys can see what it looks like, because it definitely changes. So you guys saw it before, right? And it was all white and kind of clear and everything. So now, let's see, it looks like this. See? It's like magic, huh? It's kind of cool. So it's definitely very different now in texture. So let's get it on there, and we're almost there, I think, but we just need to finish it up a bit. So we'll do it just a little bit longer.
And I want to mention that this cookbook is really cool because it's called Bring It, and it specifically books recipes that are meant to bring to a potluck. And so it tells you the best way to pack it up and bring it with you. And so it's kind of cool. This one suggests that you make it all ahead, but then you leave the 2 pieces separate. So the curd and then the actual meringues. And you put them in separate containers and refrigerate it, and then you can put it all together at your destination. But it said it was kind of a fun thing if you're trying to bring a dessert to a potluck and it's not like a pie or cookies, it's something kind of different. So I thought that was pretty fun.
Okay, now this is how we know when it's done, is what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your thing and stick it in the thing and see how it makes those those little peaks like that and how it doesn't really move. They don't like fall over very much. That is the secret to know that it's all done. So I think we whipped that one long enough. So what we'll do now is
now we're supposed to fold in the lemon zest.
Oh, you're right.
I should have been zesting the lemons this whole time. So I'm gonna make sure and wash my lemon before I zest it. And like, you might not need to wash a lemon if you're just squeezing lemon juice into something, but since we're actually putting the zest in it, you want to make sure and wash it. So 1 lemon is about a teaspoon, which is what we need for this. So I'm just going to kind of zest the lemon in there.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Where's our bowl, though? We're gonna move it in.
Oh, our bowl's right here. And then you just fold it right in with the meringue. And that's something kind of unique, too, I think, putting the zest right in the meringue like that. So then the actual meringue cookie part is lemony plus the lemon curd on top.
Yeah, which makes it very lemony and very yummy.
But not too lemony, I don't think.
Do you guys know what lemon zest is? That means is whenever you use the skin of the lemon like that and you just make it really like fine pieces, and we actually eat that part, which is kind of interesting because you wouldn't normally, like she said, but.
So that's what I'm doing, is I'm just kind of scraping the skin off here, which sounds kind of weird, but just putting that in the bowl, and then when it's all mixed together, you won't even notice, but it tastes all lemony.
Have you guys ever made a lemon meringue pie? Or just eaten them? You have back here? Yeah.
Do you guys like it when lemon things are really tart or when they're kind of sweet?
Either way.
I kind of like when they're tart. Like lemonade, I want it to be sweet, but I like it kind of tart too. Okay. So there's lots of lemon zest, and then we're just going to fold it in.
Put that in there.
With our meringue. And it almost is kind of marshmallowy tasting, I think meringue is.
Yeah.
So if you like marshmallows and you like lemons, I feel like you'll like this.
Probably like this one.
And this recipe is supposed to make 8 to 12 mini meringues, but we made them a little smaller, and we got like 32 or something. Like
so it made a lot
20 something. We made a lot, so.
Okay, do you want to start doing that?
Yeah.
And I will wash it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna fold that together so you can see all the lemon zest in there. And it's gonna make it extra lemony. And then I'm gonna set it to the side because we're gonna start working on the lemon curd part, which goes on top. So for that, we are gonna use butter and sugar, and that also has to go in the bosh. So we'll stick that over here while she's cleaning it. And I can show you how to put these on your tray for when they go in the oven. So like I said, we're not going to put them in the oven here, but I can kind of show you the process. So you just get a spoon, and you spoon a little bit onto your parchment paper, and however big or little you want them. And then we have to have a spot for the lemon curd to go. So we're going to make a little circle in the middle with our spoon. So there's a little indentation. You know when you eat mashed potatoes and you want to make sure there's a spot for your gravy? It's the same thing. You have to make a little spot with your spoon. So it's pretty easy to just spoon those on and then make your little indentation. And it also said in the cookbook that you can put it in a piping bag. So if you would rather like just pipe them on, you can, but you need kind of a big tip for the piping bag. So whatever you prefer, but that does make it a little more uniform. So, yep, just kind of like that. So there's a couple for you to get a good idea of what they look like. And then that's what you're gonna put in the oven. And they just cook for about 20 minutes, but if you make them smaller, kind of check on them. and you want them to be light and airy, but not crispy. So in the middle, they should still be a little bit soft. So ours, even though they were small, we baked them for the full 20 minutes, and that turned out perfect. So keep an eye on them so they don't burn, because it does say you don't want them to brown. So keep that in mind. Right. And then we're gonna work on making the curd now.
So I just washed that up really quick, and we'll do the next part.
So first we're beating the sugar and the butter, so even more sugar, that's exciting. And it's 1/4 of a cup. Okay. And then it's 3 tablespoons of butter.
Thank you.
Do you have a knife?
No.
We'll put it all down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we just beat this one together.
Yeah. So we're going to beat that together, and then we're going to add our egg afterwards.
And you got to make sure your butter's soft. I don't know if we talked about that.
Yeah.
But the butter has to be soft or it won't mix in right with the everything else.
So once we beat that a little bit, we're going to add 1 full egg and then 1 egg yolk that we saved from earlier.
Go ahead. The full egg. Do here. And then the egg yolk. Remember we saved that one, so we're going to add that one in as well. And then we're going to go ahead and mix that up. Okay, so now it looks very yellow. You guys see it? Very, very yellow. The next thing we're gonna do is add the juice of the lemon. Is it 1 lemon or 2 lemons?
I think it's 2.
Yes.
So it is very lemony. Oh.
Do you have, oh, that's okay.
So make sure not to get the seeds in there. So I'm gonna scoop as many out as I can.
Just make sure that we get everything in here mixed up really nice and well.
And then we're gonna squeeze the lemon in there.
Sometimes when you mix butter in this one, it likes to stick to the edges, so I like to clean it up just a bit, make sure it all is mixed fully. Okay. And then it's kind of an interesting consistency. We'll show you after we get the lemon in there, but
okay.
I know.
Okay.
I didn't touch anything. Don't worry. There is a lemon seed in there when I got it. Sometimes whenever you squeeze the lemons in there, you get the seeds in there. You can't get them all out. So let me fish this one out really quick. Use my spoon. Okay.
Oop, sorry. Okay.
All right, one more.
You want this?
Sure. Thanks. All right. Oh, I think I got another one. All right. So the
Yay.
full juice of both lemons in there. Make sure you don't get any seeds like I did. Okay. I'm being stubborn. There we go. Okay. And then we'll just mix all of this together.
And we're just mixing it until it all combines. And when we did it yesterday, it was kind of a weird consistency because the butter kind of did separate. But then you're gonna put it in your pan and heat it up, so it will all turn out
And
okay.
When the butter starts to melt, it'll look weird. I'll show it to you guys, but we'll do do this again, make sure everything's mixed in. But you'll see here that the butter, it just like kind of looks like almost like cottage cheese in there.
It just all separates.
Yeah.
But
which is good because you want it to be that way.
We want it to combine. But then when you put it on here, it heats it all and melts it. So, turns out okay.
Okay, is your stove on? Okay.
And it says it wants it to be the consistency in the end, kind of like pudding. So we'll see what it looks like now, and then show you what it looks like in the end.
Okay.
And we're aiming for pudding, so.
So again, our butter is very thick, so you'll see when we put it in. Ooh, and then you have to stir this part constantly whenever it gets in the pan. Because if you don't, it will get to where it's, well, we don't want it to burn, but we also don't want it to be, oh, this is supposed to be like a low heat. Is it low? It will start to like stick to the bottom and stuff too, and we don't want that either.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna be constantly stirring this so the butter will melt and so it will thicken. And it's just on a low heat here. So,
Okay.
now's our time where we can hang out.
So we were looking up some interesting facts about meringue, and we learned that it dates back some of the oldest to the 1600s. So meringue has been around for a very long time, and they've been in different cookbooks and things like that that have just made it very long time. 1600s, that's a long time. And there's also an interesting things. There's 3 different kinds of meringues. There is a French meringue, a Swiss meringue, and a Italian meringue. And the differences are very interesting. This that we're doing here is going to be like a French meringue. Basically what it means is you just whip it like we did and get it to those soft peaks and then the firmer peaks like that.
The egg whites.
The egg whites, yeah, you just whip it. Some of the other ones are interesting because you cook parts of it. So one of them you cook sugar and water together and make like a syrup, and then you add that to the whipped eggs. Instead of just pouring the sugar in like we did, you'd add that hot part to it. And then it just makes them different consistencies and different things like that. The other one, I think you heat all of it. You heat the egg and the sugar all together, which is very interesting, and just always constantly whipping it when you do that. So it's kind of cool because there's same ingredients, same things, but you just cook it in a different order or something, and you come out with a different product, which is cool.
And you can see that the butter, it's gonna tilt, but the butter's already kind of melted, so it's starting to thicken up. So we'll just keep stirring, but it's already starting to get thicker.
Yeah. And this is kind of cool too, because like you saw, it was all liquid, and then just by cooking it, it makes it thicker, and we get this nice custardy pudding type thing.
And you can see from like our samples, they're really bright yellow, which is kind of fun.
So we have some samples over here. This is just the meringue. Once you cook it, it will be in kind of just this shape here, and I'll get some out here. So whenever our custard is done, we can start putting it on. So it's a very, very light kind of cookie-like, and that's just what it looks like after you bake it. So these ones, and again, we made the little kind of divots in the middle. So you had those. What do you call them, dimples, or what did you call
That's
them?
a cute way to say it. I said like indentation.
Oh, okay.
Dimple is cuter.
Dimple.
That's cuter.
So then, once our custard is done, we'll be able to just spoon them right on in the middle.
And it takes a little time for it to thicken up, so that's okay. And it says it doesn't ever want it to like bubble or boil at all. You're keeping it low the whole time.
Yeah. Which is another reason to keep it at the lower temperature, to keep it from getting too hot to where it starts to boil. So. Does anybody have any questions so far about this recipe or any other questions? No? That's a great question. I don't see any reason why you couldn't. because all you need is to be able to zest it. So you could probably do it with orange or
lime.
grapefruits or lime. Yeah, and then just use, when you use the juice, make sure, it gives an amount about, it says 2 lemons, and since lemons are bigger, it says about 1/4 of a cup. So if you were to use limes, since they're a lot smaller, you'd want to just make sure you have enough juice to compensate for that. But yeah, you could use any fruit. Probably citrus fruits are going to be best, like your grapefruits, your oranges, limes, that kind of stuff. But anything you can get zest and juice from, yeah.
And we're going to end up garnishing them with some blueberries and mint. But I think we were talking about you could use other fruits for that too. Like you could use raspberries.
Or strawberries or any kind of other berries we thought would be especially good with this type of thing.
And if you want it to be even more like a pie, I thought you could sprinkle some like graham cracker crumbs on top. So anything that you think would taste good.
Yeah. And I think that they do make a cute little, like she said, it's called Bring It, so it makes a good thing to bring, and they're fairly easy. I mean, I think they cook in the oven for about 20 minutes, she said, so they really don't take a lot of time, and just make a simple, like, appetite or dessert, it would be, to just bring along to somebody's, so.
And they look very, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say they look really fancy. Yeah. So I was thinking like it would be fun to bring to like a bridal shower or something like that. Yeah. So what was your question?
If that is hot or warm, how do you refrigerate it and put it together?
Yeah, you have to cool it all before you put it together. So these have to cool, and then you have to cool this as well. And it doesn't really say how long, just kind of until...
And we let it sit for, I want to say 5 or 10 minutes, and it cooled pretty quickly after we were done here.
I mean, it's kind of just like a thick pudding custard texture, so I think you could probably just spoon it right on. But if it was room temperature, that would probably be fine too. So.
We overnight we definitely put ours in the fridge just so to make sure to help keep it and everything. That wasn't any questions about the if it was good or not. So, but this is definitely getting thicker, and
it's hard to show you guys because it moves, but it's starting to get a little bit thicker. It gets mad at me when I take it off the the burner here, but.
Yeah, yeah. Well, from this angle, yeah. We want to get one of those mirrors that you can stick up here that you'd be able to see it better, but our budget hasn't quite got there yet. We're still working on that one. Yeah, just a little one, right? Maybe next time I'll bring my own and just hold it here for you.
Okay.
I feel like it's pretty thick.
Yeah, it's getting pretty thick. And once you let it cool, it will thicken even more.
Yeah.
So the recipe is pretty forgiving. It says like if you do get the meringue, not quite enough peaks, like it will still probably turn out really good. So don't feel intimidated by this recipe.
And we cooked them for about, I think we were trying to be careful because we knew we did them smaller. We did them for about 15 minutes, I think, at first. And when we pulled them out to check them, it was still pretty gooey inside. And then we left them for the next 5 minutes, and they came out pretty good.
Yeah.
So that was...
Very light and fluffy.
Yes.
What was your question?
I just came here, so I don't know how you make those.
The white parts, the meringue. So that part was fun. We did it in this electric mixer, and basically we just put the egg whites in there, and this stirs it really fast, and so it just beats them until they get, it starts to get kind of creamy color, and then you add sugar to it, and this one we put in clove, ground clove as well, and then we put in, once it started to look like this, right here, we put in lemon zest, which is just like lemon skins cut really small, and then we put them on here, and then you would bake them if you had the oven at home. So yeah, and then they come out looking like the second one there.
Yeah. Okay, so this is getting pretty thick, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. And then we can just kind of let it cool for a second, and then we'll spoon it on and show you what it looks like.
Do you want me to wash the spoon real quick?
Oh,
you got the
I
little
have a
one.
spoon, yeah. I don't want to do it when it's too hot, because we talked all about how the temperature has to be right, so. But, yeah.
Hi.
It's pretty simple, and it is a fun thing to bring to a potluck. I've never seen, I've probably seen a lemon meringue pie, but not little individual ones, and it's easy to grab, and you don't have to cut it or anything, so it makes it kind of fun.
And this cookbook was really cool too, because it not only gives desserts, but it also has the like main dishes and appetizers and lots of very interesting things that make hosting really fun, or just bringing things along. So it's a really good cookbook. You can put it on hold if you want to get it to either try this recipe or the others. You can get that one.
Yeah.
So. Yes.
Okay, should we try
think so,
spooning it
yeah.
on?
I think that'll be good.
I'm going to pick this one because it has a really nice dimple. And I'm just going to spoon it on top in just kind of a little dollop. And then it will cool, like I said. And
you don't want to probably serve them right away if they're a little bit warm. You want to probably wait till they at least cool quite a bit. But then it's that easy.
yeah. And this lemon curd does go a long way. I just put like 1 or 2 little spoonfuls on top. And then we're going to garnish it. So we just got a couple blueberries that we can stick in there.
And this is just mint that we got to help
And
with
all
the
these are
garnish.
pre-washed. I wanted to let you know. Make sure you wash your fruit and veggies. And the mint actually is really nice to add as well, because it's kind of crisp and has a good flavor. And the blueberries, we were impressed too, were really nice to add, because they're kind of lightly sweet and crisp to add.
And it mixed, the flavors mix really well with the lemon. The lemon blueberry, just they mix very nicely together.
And they look cute too.
Yeah. So if you're about presentation, this is the way to do it right here. And you can stick that right in there, and there you go. Easy peasy.
So that's how you make the mini lemon meringues, and we'd love for you to come and get a sample and tell us what you think.
Go ahead, you can try them out.
Yeah, thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody for tuning in to Facebook and Instagram Live, and we'll see you next time, September. I don't remember the exact date, but the 3rd Wednesday of September.
And we're making maple walnut scones.
Yes.
Ooh. So make sure you come back.
Yes. Bye.